23rd, 2021, New Brunswick Board of Education Board meeting, and I will turn it over to Mrs. President Diana Solis. Ms. Solis?
Thank you, Mr. Generone. Adequate public notice of this meeting was provided by the Secretary of the Board on February 16th, 2021, to the Home News Tribune, Star Ledger, and the Clerk of the City of New Brunswick. The time and location of this meeting and all meetings of this body are posted in City Hall, 78 Byard Street, New Brunswick. Roll call, Mr. Generone.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Ortiz.
Here.
Mrs. Sadowski.
Here.
Mrs. Seawood.
Here.
Sevilla. Ms. Sevilla. Okay, we'll give her a minute. I'll come back to her. Titus.
Here.
That was
Sorry, I was muted.
Yes. Okay, so Ms. Sevilla is present. Mrs. Shikaitis.
Here.
Mr. Spencer.
Here.
Ms. Farella. Dr. Caldwell.
Here.
Mrs. Solis.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Generone. We could recite the flag salute on three. 1, 2, 3. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
and justice
for all.
Thank you, everyone. This is a reminder that the preliminary budget meeting will be held on Tuesday, March 2nd, 2021, beginning at 6 p.m. via telephonic conference call. The public hearing on the budget meeting will be held on Tuesday, March 23rd, 2021, beginning at 6 p.m. via telephonic conference call. And the next regular Board of Education meeting will be held on Tuesday, March 23rd, immediately following the budget hearing via telephonic conference call. If I could please have a motion to accept the minutes of the January 19th meeting.
So moved. Second.
Okay, I'll take a roll call. Mr. Ortiz.
Yes.
Mrs. Sadowski.
Yes.
Mrs. Seawood.
Yes.
Ms. Sevilla.
Yes.
Mrs. Shikaitis.
Yes.
Mr. Spencer.
Yes.
Dr. Caldwell.
Yes.
Mrs. Solis.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Item number 4, the superintendent's report. Dr. Johnson.
Yes, good evening. For the month of January, we have enrolled 9,751 students. There were 0 cases of harassment, intimidation, and bullying. Our December staff attendance was at 98%, and our December student attendance was at 89%. Just want to take a couple minutes just to talk about Black history. Since the formal establishment of Black History Month in 1976, each February has been a wonderful opportunity to celebrate the myriad contributions people of color have made to our nation. For those of us charged with providing young people with educational insight, it is always a valuable teaching moment. Certainly because of the unquestionable turbulence of the past several years, sharing the core lessons of Black History Month is now more important than ever. And I'm extremely proud of the efforts our district administrators and teachers continue making in this regard. Black History Month is not about presenting a single story or a select few, but about opening the door of intellectual curiosity to expose all to the many facets of the Black experience in the African diaspora. Of course, it's also essential to keep in mind that Februaries are not exclusively for looking backward in time. Black History Month is every bit as much about gazing ahead as we prepare our current students for eventually making their own essential contributions to history. Speaking about looking ahead, I just also want to come back to the conversation we had last January regarding our reentry. Our plans are as follows. We will reopen elementary schools, grades pre-K to 8 for staff on March 15th, and on March 22nd for middle school and high school staff. We will reopen elementary schools for in-person learning for grades pre-K to 8 students on April 12th. Then on April 19th, we will open schools for middle school and high school students. And as always, we will continue to follow the guidance of the Center for Disease Control to reduce the risk of COVID spread, and we will continue to monitor the spread of the virus and make needed adjustments when necessary. On February 8th, we held a district-wide professional development session focused on social and emotional learning practices to staff engaged in a professional development designed to develop common practices of social and emotional learning to support the emotional health and well-being of our students. And this will be a focus of us when we return more so when we return for in-person and hybrid learning. We focused on using SEL to support students and examining their various identities, providing developmentally appropriate opportunities for students to engage in discussions with each other and raise problems and identify solutions in their schools and within their communities. We continue to serve our meals for all students. We will continue our current grab-and-go nutrition plan at the 10 district locations on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays from 11 to 6 p.m. Curbside pickup continues to be available at our New Brunswick Middle School site from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., allowing families to drive up and pick up their meals. We will also continue to provide meals via our contactless delivery service to over 1,600 families. Due to the inclement weather experienced during the past couple of weeks, our meal distribution program ran on a modified schedule. However, we were able to provide the same number of meals as in a regular week of distribution. And lastly, just want to talk a little bit about community engagement. On January 27th and the 28th, we held 2 parent university sessions. The session on January 27th was for parents and guardians to review how to access and utilize Google Classroom to help their child navigate classwork assigned to them. The session on January 28th was for parents and guardians to review preschool and kindergarten technology resources in order to enhance virtual instruction and to work collaboratively with parents to help their child at home. Our next parent university session will take place tomorrow, Wednesday, February 24th. The session will introduce parents to the Learning Alley audiobook solution, including how they can help their child benefit from audiobook at home. And lastly, as a reminder, we have released our mobile communication app. It integrates directly with our existing website and social media platforms, and it will be available to anyone who wishes to stay connected to the New Brunswick Public Schools. This app is also a great way to receive daily updates and notifications from the district and from school. More information is available on our website and also being shared by our school administrators. Thank you. That concludes my remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson, for that thorough report. If I could please have a motion to accept the superintendent's report.
So move.
Second.
Mr. Janarum?
Mr. Ortiz.
Yes.
Mrs. Sadowski.
Yes.
Mrs. Seawood.
Yes.
Ms. Sevilla.
Yes.
Mrs. Shikaitis.
Yes.
Mr. Spencer.
Yay.
Dr. Caldwell.
Yes.
Mrs. Solis.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Item number 5, the student representative report. Ms. Nemhard?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The second semester, along with the third marking period, began on February 2nd. Many students claim that they enjoyed moving into their new courses as well as meeting their teachers every day as opposed to the previous year's schedule where classes met every other day. The high school yearbook advisors, along with Principal Redler and the New Brunswick High School vice principals, have been in the building every Saturday during January and February to check students in during scheduled professional yearbook picture sessions. The program has been successful and safe as COVID protocol is in place and followed to. Students are grateful that a yearbook is being created for the class of 2021. New Brunswick High School administrator driver's education permit testing in the building this afternoon, February 23rd. The high school team has continued to invite students from the Health Science Tech, P-Tech, and the Adult Learning Center to test with the New Brunswick High School students. COVID protocol is always followed at the highest level. Sanitizer stations are in place, social distances is followed by all students and staff, and face masks are worn by all occupants. Students receive immediate feedback as assigned proctors using scanning devices to grade their assessments. A new high school program has been formed, the Social Justice Committee. New Brunswick High School students with teachers, staff, and administrators are creating a platform for students to be change agents, where students can use their voices, make a difference in the high school and the community at large. Students lead discussions, share ideas, and are planning on efficient ways to act on their collective ideas. Topics they chose to discuss during last week's meeting, including helping the community, student events, educational equity, inequality, and changing a selfless mentality of working against one another to the strength of a collective entity working together. Advisory time has been built into the second semester schedule. Advisory allows times for students to focus on our emotional and physical well-being, how social issues affect us and our community, to build emotional strength and meaningful connections with our peers and our teachers. The NCOTI testing was administered in the New Brunswick High School on February 16th. The acronym NOCTI represents the National Occupational Competency Testing Institute and is an American certifying organization that tests students on their abilities to perform the skills needed in a career. Passing scores on the NOCTI provide students with a foundation to promote their knowledge and skills when they're seeking employment in the business world. 2 online orientations meetings took place on February 9th and the 18th with 8th grade students from New Brunswick Middle School. One program was specific for Spanish speakers, with the other orientation meeting for students that spoke English. During these meetings, upon 9th grade students learned about the courses and programs offered at New Brunswick High School and were introduced to the high school administrators and school counselors. Orientation meetings are being scheduled with all New Brunswick schools to have 8th grade students enrolled in their buildings. I am looking forward to the success of students of the New Brunswick High School as we continue to move forward in our learning. This concludes my report as student rep of the New Brunswick Board of Education. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Nemhard. We'll be moving on to item number 6, the Facility Committee Report. Mr. Spencer.
Yes, Madam President. I am pleased to report that our architect has completed the schematic design plans for the project. This is the first phase in the design of our new school. The educational specifications and schematics designs drawings have been submitted to the DOE for approval as part of the department's required plan review process. The project received preliminary and final site plan approval from the New Brunswick Planning Board at a public meeting held on February 11th, 2021. Madam President, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Spencer. I'll move on to item number 7, the Athletic Committee Report. Mrs. Sadowski.
Thank you, Madam President. The Athletic Committee met last week, and there were several updates for February. Dates for spring sports. Basketball and bowling is January 11th to March 5th. Right now, the boys basketball is on a break and will resume on February 25th against St. Joe's, and it also will be senior night. There will be no county tournament. They're going to be playing, if they make the cut, they'll be playing in pods of 4. Girls basketball is also playing. Senior honors will be honored this Friday. There is only one senior this year. Girls volleyball will start on March 4th. Right now, wrestling is going to be on hold till sometime later in March. Tennis, baseball, softball, and spring track start April 1st to June 12th. Winter athlete recognition. GMC Outstanding Winter Student Athletes, as picked by the SAAC. Tiana Riles, girls basketball, a 4.2 GPA. And Jashawn Height, bowling, also with a 4.0 GPA. Very proud of both of our students. We have a lot to report on boys soccer. Have 6 players on the high honor roll for the second marking period. Also, 7 players on the honor roll for the second marking period. We have cheerleaders with 3.0. Let me see. Yes, cheerleaders with 3.0 and above GPAs for the first semesters. 7 cheerleaders. Their GPAs ranged from 3.0 to 4.2. There were also cheerleaders, 5 of them, that made the second marking period honor roll. Football players, honor roll. They're still continuing with Play It Smart. We have 15 players that made the honor roll, second marking period. Football players with a 3.0 GPA and above first semester, and that averaged between 3.0 to 3.9, and there were 22 players. Girls soccer players honor roll second marking period, 19 students. Girls soccer with a 3.0 and above first semester, 24 players / students who ranged from a 3.0 to a 4.3. 3 students with a 4.0 to 4.3. I think that's pretty remarkable that our students are still continuing with their Play It Smart and realizing that this is what is important. And for some other good news, Bloomfield College, Jeffrey Rodriguez, who is our number 2 all-time scoring leader for boys soccer, will be going to Bloomfield College to play soccer and get his degree. And also will be joining Edwin Martinez, also an MBHS graduate, and Yomar Vizcayano, excuse me, mispronouncing, who also is an MBHS alumnus. They're all going to be back together and playing together at Bloomfield, and especially they will be getting their degrees and moving on in life and making us proud. So that is almost concludes my report. I will need a motion to accept the bank reconciliation. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Sadowski, for that thorough report. If we could please have a motion.
So moved.
Second, by anyone?
Yes, Sevilla.
Okay. Roll call. Mr. Ortiz.
Yes.
Mrs. Sadowski.
Yes.
Hello?
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 Mrs. Seawood.
Yes.
Ms. Sevilla.
Yes.
Mrs. Shikaitis.
Yes.
Mr. Spencer.
Yay.
Dr. Caldwell.
Yes.
Mrs. Solis.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you, Mr. Janarone. Item number 8, the Curriculum and Policy Committee report. Mrs. Seawood?
Thank you, Madam President and members of the board. The Curriculum and Policy Committees met last week. And before I start with my summary, I want to remind you, January, I believe, school board members traditionally are recognized for their service to the community. In addition, in February, professional school counselors are recognized for their contributions to the educational community. So I just wanted to make those announcements. We met, our committees met last week, February 16th. The Curriculum and Instruction Department continues to provide support to teachers and students in the realm of social emotional learning and culturally responsive teaching by hosting monthly events and actions in support of the Black Matter at School. For the month of February, the Mathematics Department is building on the work the Humanities Department began, with the theme being unapologetically Black, meaning to love yourself despite what society might say, and embrace the culture you were born into, being Black and proud. Curriculum and Instruction has a newsletter that's shared, I believe, monthly. So this month is Black History Month and beyond. This was shared with all to make Black History Month responsive to our student population and highlight the work our teachers and students have started in January and will continue to do throughout the year to ensure that African American history, contributions, and experiences are taught in our classrooms. And this is across all disciplines. Since our district has a high percentage of Latino students, Black History Month is a great opening to help Latino students learn more about their own African roots and the importance of including these cultural references in all aspects of learning. New Brunswick Public Schools joins Verizon Innovative Learning in providing students with internet access, devices, and technology to 3 selected schools. 6th through 8th grade students in Lincoln Annex, McKinley Community School, and New Brunswick Middle School will participate in the program, beginning with the 2021 to 2022 school year. Each teacher and student will be equipped with a device and up to a 4-year data plan. In addition to free technology and access, schools will be provided with extensive professional development and support, along with the opportunity to engage in powerful teaching and learning that leverages technology in and out of the classroom. The Curriculum and Instruction Department has worked closely with all departments across all disciplines, and the teachers have really been receptive to the professional development they have received. The third thing we talked about, and we had talked about this, I guess, for actually a couple of years, but we want to give special thanks to the Equity Alliance and their work in analyzing student discipline data and reviewing inconsistencies between the language and the discipline policy and its intent. They were able to revise the student discipline code of conduct policy and regulation to encourage the use of best practices while minimizing the use of suspensions and expulsions, prohibit excluding students from school for absences or tardiness, and further limit the use of exclusionary discipline for behaviors that do not present a threat to school safety. The Student Discipline Code of Conduct policy is included in the consent agenda as a resolution, and we request that it be presented and adopted on the first reading. It is a revision of the existing policy and regulation. We did review other resolutions, and they too are included in on the consent agenda. And that concludes my report.
Thank you so much for your very thorough report, Mrs. Seawood. I'd like to move on to item number 9, the Educational Services Commission of New Jersey report. Dr. Caldwell.
Madam President, there is no report this month. Things are going very, very well with the commission, but nothing new to report. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Caldwell. Item number 10, I would like to thank every single board member for participating in tonight's meeting. I would like to just tell everyone that is part of our district that is working day in and day out so diligently to ensure that our students are receiving the best education possible. Thank you. Words are really not sufficient in expressing our gratitude in the work that you do, but just know that we are all rooting for you and the success of our students. We appreciate everything that you do. And with that, I will move on to item number 11, the public comments. Mr. General.
Thank you, Ms. Solis. The first member of the public here that registered is Ms. Danielle Moore, but I do not see that she's in attendance tonight. So I will move on to the second public speaker, which is Mr. Cradiville. Mr. Cradiville?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Charlie Cradiville, New Brunswick today. First question for you, Madam President. Are you planning to run for re-election?
Yes, Mr. Cradiville, I am.
Thank you. Through the President for Mr. Spencer, are you planning to run for re-election?
I'll just answer that we are all of us whose terms are expiring are running again for re-election, Mr. Cradiville.
Okay, thank you. Well, I just wanted to say that I hope to see more people vote this year than previously. I think that, you know, in the past couple of years, the turnout has been increasing, and I think that, you know, we should all set a high goal for making sure that people actually participate in the election. And so I hope that, I'll be honest, I hope that people run against you, but I hope that more people vote this year than last. So that's really all I wanted to say tonight, but I hope that you're all doing well in this difficult time, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Cradiville. We hope you stay safe as well.
Okay, Okay, thank you. So, the next member of the public is actually several members that are gonna come up. We have, Professor Manzanares from Middlesex County College, who's gonna speak first and then introduce some students of his that, wanna talk about, grammar in the schools. Professor, are you there? Professor?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Rafael Manzanares. I am an adjunct professor of English at Middlesex College. Each semester, I teach a short research-based lesson on the history of grammar in public education, which includes why it is no longer present and how this is a social justice issue. This topic has inspired some students to write letters where they will convey how they feel. Here are my students. First up is Padmini.
Good evening. My name is Padmini Jalem. Dear board members, I would like to share my thoughts and concern about why grammar is important and why it should return to the high school curriculum. When I was in high school, we did not learn grammar, which I am now feeling the effects of when trying to write an essay for the college level. Some may say grammar does not matter anymore, especially in a society where slang terminology is very popular. But in the professional world, effective grammar is a critical skill because the way one speaks and writes can affect the way people perceive that individual. When we do not teach grammar, we prevent creativity and limit possibilities for many children. How can one go into the real world and expect a job without even having grammar skills? Please view grammar as a valuable asset and teach it to our young children before they head off to college or into the real world. Do not set them up for failure. With safe regards, Padmini. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. You have the next student, Mr. Manzanares. Do you have other students that want to speak?
You got me. Yes, sorry, next up is Pooja.
Good evening. So, dear board members, I'm writing in regards to the issue of high school not teaching grammar. I believe that grammar forms the basis of any language. It allows students to learn and basic principles that govern writing later on in life. Therefore, if you don't teach grammar in high school, students will not develop this skills. Grammar improves the commanding of English language. This gives us confidence when applying for jobs, writing essays, or even speaking publicly. Therefore, grammar becomes important from a young age to develop the confidence for expression and format for native English speakers in high school, as it is necessary to step in with safe regard for your country.
Thank you. Next up is Natalia.
Good evening. My name is Natalia Rodriguez Gonzalez. Dear board members, now more than ever, learning grammar is important for younger generations. We communicate using text messages and even talks in abbreviations. When we want to formulate more complex thoughts, the task seems impossible at times. What many college freshmen realize once they take writing courses in college is how much professors value the grammatical part of reading. Storytelling skills, data recollection, and the subjects of interest are of lesser value in their eyes if what they read is not well written. One bad essay can end up defining the rest of your college education, and now is the time for the Board of Education to take this matter into their own hands. The power of words is incredible, especially how far they can get a person in this world. This is the way people see, judge, and admire us. I know that our earliest years in public education can strengthen our grammar skills quickly and efficiently, if English teachers modify their lesson plans and focus their attention on this area throughout the school year. They do not have to teach grammar and intonation from other important topics, but just include it. The difference in college student writing skills in a few years will be surprising if you consider adding grammar to the high school curriculum. Students deserve to enter college well prepared, and this is a good way to honor that value. With safe regards, Natalia Rodriguez-Gonzalez.
Thank you. Next up is Mustafa.
Good evening. My name is Mustafa. Dear board members, I have a concern about the lack of grammar in the current curriculum, and I would like to concern with you all. It's a vital part of linguistics, which creates struggles for many teenagers and adults. Those linguistic struggles hinder their chances for upward mobility in this world because they can hurt their chances of getting a job, holding a job, or even graduating college. I never had a formal education on grammar, and I've always felt its effect on me. I always had a hard time writing resumes for jobs, and during some of my college classes, I have lost percentages on my assignments because of my inability to use grammar. I have worked hard on this after high school, but not everyone might be able to. So we have to, sorry, I lost my place. So we have to be able to teach these in high school. Students focus their attention for many hours each day. Why shouldn't we use that time wisely and actually learn valuable information? Students should learn about grammar because the way we word our sentences outside of school and the way we write our papers in school are completely different. I know people in college that had to wait at least a half semester to graduate because they had a hard time completing their English requirement classes. And they have all complained about how they were missing out on grammar or how they had a hard time in class because they lacked grammar skills. We should try to set up our youth to succeed after high school, not hope someone down the line in college teaches them. Thank you for taking the time to listen, and please consider restoring grammar to the curriculum for native English-speaking students. With safe regards, Mustafa Lake.
Thank you. Next up is Brandon. Brandon?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. Dear board members, first, I would like to say I hope all is well during this pandemic. I know it's a crazy time. However, in this short letter, I would like to share my point of view and concerns about how adding grammar to the curriculum can negatively affect people. For the most part, young people are not learning grammar as often as they should be. And as a result, they lack the linguistic skills that are very important to have in our society. I personally believe that students should learn grammar in high school as it will help them not only academically, but in the real world as well. Formal grammar instruction can help better in studies and create opportunities for them in the future. And this is a little piece of why I think grammar in high school and I share a similar perspective. With safe regards.
Good evening, dear board. I have some concerns that I would like to share regarding grammar to the curriculum. Currently, high schools are deviating from the subject of teaching grammar to students, or even ever. Most career fields will require understanding of grammar in some shape or form. This could be in the creation of resumes, attending an interview, or even casually discussing instructions at work. Many employers could even make a vital decision depending on whether someone has impressed them with articulation, which has to do with phonetics. Acquiring a profound understanding of grammar can produce an individual that stands out from everyone else and can elevate this individual to brand new heights of success. This is why I ask you today to please increase your teaching of grammar in high school so that we may no longer have to learn it on our own. With safe regards, Sayed Shah.
Thank you. Next is Elizabeth.
Hi, everyone. Young adults nowadays like to use their own slang terms in their everyday dialogue, but they lack a good understanding of grammar, which is necessary to have a successful future. Most jobs require an interview process that will expect effective communication all the way through until they hopefully receive employment. Once employed, they are expected to communicate with customers and other coworkers with that same effective use of language. While in English class, I suggest substituting a book with focus on a topic that will help in real-world situations. This topic should be grammar for the native English. This will not only help them outside of school, but grow as a student as well. Thank you.
And the last one is Lucy.
Good evening, dear board members. I would like to share my opinion regarding grammar and its addition to the curriculum. I believe that having a strong foundation in grammar can greatly improve the way one is able to communicate with surrounding individuals. Students should learn grammar at a level that will assist them further than just memorizing rules for a quiz or an assignment. Fully understanding how our language works is important, so we're able to communicate more than we mean effectively and accurately. Best regards, this Maria Gomez.
Thank you for listening to us. Have a pleasant evening and be safe out there.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And that concludes our public comment portion of the meeting.
Thank you so much, Mr. General, and thank you to Professor Manzanares. Mr. Manzanares and I actually attended New Brunswick High School during the same time, and I do appreciate his efforts to get his students involved in the community. With that being said, I'd like a motion to approve the consent agenda items.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Ortiz.
Yes.
Mr. Sadowski.
Yes.
Mrs. Seawood.
Yes.
Ms. Sevilla.
Yes, abstain on item M.
So, Mrs. Shikaitis.
Yes, I abstain on items K, L, and Q.
Okay, so noted. Mr. Spencer.
Yes.
Dr. Caldwell.
Yes.
Mrs. Solis.
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Item number 13, the Finance Committee report. Dr. Caldwell.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I'd like to make a motion to accept the Finance Committee report as presented.
We have a motion, please.
So move.
Okay.
And before we have a roll call vote, I just want to point out that note the corrective action plan that you're approving for the audit. We had our annual yearly audit done by our yearly auditors, and after review of all our records, they found two findings, one of which is actually a finding that we have in excess of 3 months' worth of expense funds in our food services enterprise fund. So that is not a negative finding. It is a finding actually where it's good to have a little extra cash these days, and we will be utilizing it for the students. Second finding is that all eligible employees who qualify be enrolled in the defined contribution retirement plan in a timely manner. So any hourly employee that makes over $5,000 is forced to enroll in the defined contribution retirement plan, and the auditor noted that we need to do that in a more timely manner if the employee does not choose to enroll themselves. So that is the two recommendations and findings that we had in our audit report, which we are approving the corrective action plan, which we will then implement. I'll now take a roll call vote to approve the finance report. Mr. Ortiz.
Yes.
Mrs. Sadowski.
Yes.
Mrs. Seawood.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Ms. Sevilla.
Yes.
Mrs. Shikaitis?
Yes, I abstain on page 18.
Mr. Spencer?
Yes, I abstain on page 5.
So noted. Dr. Caldwell?
Yes.
Mrs. Solis?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you, Mr. Generone. Item number 14, the Personnel Committee report. Mr. Ortiz?
Yes, Madam President. The personnel met on February 18th. We reviewed all aspects of personnel. At this time, I would like to have a motion to accept the personnel report. All board members received copies as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Mr.
Roll call.
Generone?
Mr. Ortiz?
Yes.
Mrs. Sadowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Seawood?
Yes.
Ms. Sevilla?
Yes.
Mrs. Shikaitis?
Yes.
Mr. Spencer?
Yay.
Dr. Caldwell?
Yes.
Mrs. Solis?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. If I could please have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call. Mr.
Mr. General?
Ortiz?
Yes.
Mrs. Sadowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Seawood?
Yes.
Ms. Sevilla?
Yes.
Mrs. Shikaitis? Mrs. Shikaitis?
Yes.
Mr. Spencer?
Yay.
Dr. Caldwell?
Yes.
Mrs. Solis?
Yes.
Thank you very much. We are adjourned.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
You too.
Good
Bye-bye,
night,
everybody.
everyone.
Stay safe.
Bye.